And we are live in the flesh. Oh no, pause due to poor connection. That's not good. Come on, Wi Fi. Live in the flesh. Live in the flesh. What's up, everybody? Taylor Nixon here, hosting another magnificent takeaways with Tay. You know what it is. We do this every Sunday. Well, at least you should know what it is if you've been tuning in, these past few Sundays. But we do this every Sunday. I do this every Sunday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I don't know why Instagram is like struggling to let me try this again. Hold on guys. Technical difficulty. So sorry. We'll be back momentarily. Hold on one second. Doop. All right, guys. And if this doesn't work, then oh well. Okay, so today's topic is coming from an entirely new book. So last week I was focusing on poetry. And to rewind, this is a segment that I call Takeaways with Tay, where I read nonfiction books and I share key takeaways from those books for people who, maybe would like to benefit from the knowledge and wisdom of reading, but don't necessarily have the time or can commit, an hour here and there to do so. So Instagram is having a really hard time with my connection. I don't know why. It's like God wants me to be great, but the algorithm does not. So we're just gonna run with it. I don't know. But yeah. So, today's topic is, as far as like books are considered, we're focusing on the book called F Feelings. I'm not gonna say the actual word because I don't want YouTube to flag me. But the book is called F Feelings, and it's by Michael Bennet and Sarah Bennet. It's a father-daughter duo, which is like very admirable. But Michael Bennet is a certified psychiatrist, and then Sarah Bennet, his daughter, is a writer, and she's written for a lot of different places. So today's topic is going to be very interesting because, like I said, the title is F Feelings. In the past, I've talked on feelings with, takeaways with Tay, and I've discussed how we should embrace our feelings, learn about our emotions, learn about what we're feeling and things like that. And I'm gonna turn off my internet. How about that? How we should embrace our feelings and use our feelings to kind of give us indications of what it is that we're experiencing and maybe how we can get out of that. So today it's all about effing feelings, F the feelings, and I'm just playing. But then it's essentially, the book is called F Feelings. And today is a very important topic because it's for, overthinkers, perfectionists, and who else would I say? Your underdogs, like people who have experienced things in life that they think wasn't fair, which I feel like is a great deal of us. We've all experienced a magnitude of unfairness or what we feel like is unjust in this lifetime. And I say that because today's topic is particularly important because it's focusing on appreciation, but not just any type of appreciation. It's focusing on self-appreciation. We talk a lot about self-improvement and doing things to become better people, to become better partners, better teachers, be better in our professions, be better at whatever it is that we are striving for in life. But sometimes we have to take a step back and just appreciate ourselves for just simply being and for simply existing and for simply doing everything that it takes to be us. And so that leads me to my first takeaway, which is that no one knows what it takes to be you. We hear this a lot, and it's one of those, it could be like, cliche for some, But it's it's a thing about, there's this thing where in life where like we all have our unique journeys. We all have our unique stories that make us who we are. And no one knows what it takes for you to get up every morning and try to do whatever it is that you're striving to do. No one knows what it takes for you to be the parent that you are. No one knows what it takes for you to be the teacher that you are, the psychiatrist that you are, the sister, the brother, the nephew, the niece. No one knows what it takes to be you except for you. And you have to honor that. You have to hold space for yourself, because we can't really rely on the world to do that for us. We can't depend on other people to do that for us. We have all these teacher appreciation days, grandparent appreciation, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and all those things are great. But why is it that we wait until our birthday to appreciate ourselves and to acknowledge ourselves and be like, yeah, I'm that, or I'm that, whatever it is that you call yourself, like, this episode is all ego. This is not an episode for humbleness and, God is great. Yes, God is still great. But at the end of the day, like, well, there's no but. God is great, period. God is great. In addition to God being great, you are also great. And you have to acknowledge that and appreciate yourself and, own that. Like, if there was a time where you get an award and you get recognized and they ask you, who would you like to thank? Walk on that stage and literally get up, hold the mic and say, today I want to thank me, period. Like, today I want to thank me, because you know what it takes to be you. Only you know what it takes to be you. You know what it took for you to get to where you are, what it took for you to make it to the airport that day, what it took, whatever the case may be. Like, only you know that. So honor that. And also, like, while self-improvement is great and all, and, I'm not knocking any of that, it can lead to self-sabotage if you don't appreciate who you are today. Because the thing about self-improvement is that we all have limits by nature. We are humans, okay? We can't fly. Not unless we get into a plane that has propellers. Not like, we cannot physically go out, get on a platform above the ground and like flap our wings, whatever wings that we have or don't. We can't fly unless we have to have certain mechanisms in place. Like, and I use flying as an example, but just essentially, we're not these, we are beings that have limitations. Our bodies have limitations. Our mind has limitations. We can't always think of solutions 24/7. Otherwise, we'll go crazy. We can't put too much on our bodies. We'll put wear and tear on our bodies, our knees. People who play basketball, myself included, after a certain amount of years of playing basketball, your knees start like literally giving out, because it just can't take all of the jumping and running and squatting and sliding and all that, that it takes to be a top basketball player. Now, my knees are still in great condition. Great. Thank you, God. But other people have, may have a little bit more, their knees might be a little bit more sensitive. And, just because my knees aren't in bad condition, something else could be, have a limitation. So it's all about knowing your limitations as a human being and as a person, as a unique individual, knowing your limitations, and then, setting your expectations of like, where you want to be in life according to those limitations. It's not saying let those limitations like, hold you back from like aspiring to be things. But, sometimes you've done all you can do and things literally just still don't come together the way that you want them to. And some, like, for example, somebody who might have been like working out, they work out all the time. They go to the gym every week, and, they're eating well and all these things, and they still can't lose that last bit of belly fat that they're trying to lose, or they still can't seem to get that stubborn pound. Like, it's like certain things even if let's use a different example, being a parent, like, once again, I'm not a parent. I don't know why I always use parenting examples. I'm not a parent. I'm a teacher, so it's very close, right? Kind of. but so, like, parents, sometimes you have literally, you've governed a child in all the ways that they should go, and you've done your best with the knowledge that you were given at the time, and your child might still very well go off and do their own thing and then end up having to learn things the hard way. Or, something could happen to them, and, you've literally done all you could. And it's not, sometimes, children make their own decisions and they have to live with that. And it's not your fault as a parent. You know what I mean? Like, you have to give yourself the appreciation and the honoring of, like, you know what, I did all I could. And instead of, like, valuing ourselves or appreciating ourselves only when we do something, only when we reach a certain height or we achieve something in life, rather than doing that, we should or basing, like, our view of ourselves on that. The book that I was reading was basically suggesting that we be accountable to our values, and we base ourselves off of who we are as people. Excuse me. How we handle life situations. It's not the situation itself that matters. The situation is the situation, and you either handle it or it handles you. But it's about literally how you handle the situation. It's about your mentality in that time. Like, if something is being done to you and it's unfair, are you gonna complain and, like, cry about it being unfair, or are you gonna remove yourself from situations that maybe make you feel like you're not being appreciated or like you're not being valued to the way that you would want? And everything isn't as cookie cutter, clear, defined answers. Whatever makes sense for you is, essentially, that. But essentially what the book is saying is that rather than basing our value off of, what we've done and what we've accomplished, because sometimes we might not accomplish all of our goals, we should base the way we see ourselves off of our values, how we treat others, how we respond to trauma, how we come back from things. You got to give yourself a pat on the back for, that the way you handled that breakup. You have to give yourself a pat on the back for the way you dealt with those people who were really nasty to you, when you could have been like, you could had every right to slap I'm not gonna say it, but you had every right to slap somebody and you didn't. Like, you have to give yourself a hand clap. You gotta give yourself a pat on the back. I tell my students all the time, like, when they do things, like, even when they don't do things, like, when they do small things, like, just raise their hand and try to answer a question that, think critically about something, and whether or not they get the answer right or not, I let them know, like, give yourself a pat on the back, because you had to, like, you had to have some type of, like, courage to raise your hand and to answer and to, give it, like, just to try. Like, we have to give ourselves credit for just trying, for just dreaming, for trying to dream, for trying to accomplish something, for trying. This is all about self-appreciation. Like I said, this episode is no time for humbleness. This is no time for humility. It's great in certain spaces, but this episode is all about talk your stuff, okay? Talk your stuff, and you don't even have to say it to other people. Say it to yourself. Say it in the mirror when you wake up in the morning. Speak your affirmations, affirm yourself. Tell yourself that you are appreciated. Give yourself flowers. Go and treat yourself, period, right? Don't wait on somebody else to do it. And so my, let's see, knowing our limits. And also I have a basketball reference too, because I love basketball. And, Ben, what's up, Ben? He said, sending fan love and blessings to your channel, Tay. You're going to get that look off of one of your clips, for real. Thank you so much, Ben. You always supporting me, man. You're, like, literally the greatest. Backstory, guys, like, for reference, Ben is always sending me opportunities and inspiration for, like, at least the past 2-3 years now. And it's been in times where I maybe have not been as inspirational for myself, or been in a space where I've like wanted to pursue certain opportunities. So I thank you for that, Ben. But also that kind of touches on like, the topic for today too, because the book also talks about how sometimes we are not always in a space to feel great or to accomplish what we want. And that doesn't mean that, like, because we're not able to feel great about ourselves, that we just like go into this hole and, kind of have pity or whatever the case may be. But it's just that, once again, it goes back to those limits that we have, and that knowing our limits and being able to manage our lives within our limits, and to manage what we can do within, our weaknesses that we have, because we do have them. And so this kind of fits into my basketball reference, because I see life as like a big basketball game, right? If we want to put like an analogy to it, I see life as a big basketball game, and like the people in our lives are the different positions. So on the court, there's 5 positions for anyone that doesn't play basketball. You have the point guard, you have 2 guards, and then you have, to kind of simplify it, you got 2 guards, and then you have bigs, like forwards. The bigs and the forwards, they do all the big work in the paint, near the basket. They score near the basket, get rebounds, etc. The guards, they do a lot of the shooting, attacking the basket, bringing the ball up. But with the point guard, I consider you would be the point guard, right? You're the point guard of your life. The point guard is the one that directs the traffic. So they set the play up. They bring the ball up. They kind of control the pace of the game, or at least that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be on the court to control how fast the offense runs, to control, what happens on offense, to kind of be the facilitator. And so I consider, you, like if we're talking about yourself, you are the point guard of your life. And sometimes as a point guard, or a lot of times as a point guard, you have to know who's on the court with you. So you have to know, okay, this person can shoot. This person is good at rebounding. This person is good at defense. This person is really quick on transition. And when you know that information, and when you have a good assessment of, who's on the court with you, then you can make decisions that will put you and your team in a better position to win that game. So once again, you're the point guard, right? The people in your life are essentially like all the other players within the game. And you, as the point guard, you have to know the limitations of not only yourself, but of your teammates, of the people, it could be the environment. It could be the courts. There might be dead spots on the court that you have to watch out for as a point guard. There's a lot of factors that comes into the role of being a great point guard. But essentially, that's what it means to manage your life, is to assess everything in your life, including your strengths, your weaknesses, the people around you, your environment, and manage it to the best of your ability. And, as long as you know that you've done it to the best of your ability, that's all that matters. Who cares if you didn't, go on BET and be get the Lifetime Achievement Award? Who cares if you didn't, become the top anchor in sports? Who cares if you didn't become the best preacher on this whole entire northeastern part of the United States? Like, who cares? We put so much pressure on ourselves. Just appreciate the fact that you just even tried. Appreciate the fact that you even took the time out to even assess your life, to even try, to just I don't think y'all really understand what I'm saying here. Like, it's some people who just getting up in the morning, lifting their hands or their head, is some people who it's hard for them to do that. And so although some of us take it for granted, somebody else is out and it's hard for them to do certain things that they maybe used to be able to do. And those people, and whoever, whatever it is in life that you struggle with, you have to appreciate the little things that only what it took for you to be able to do that. So this leads me to my last and final point. Oh, actually, second point. I didn't realize I was only on the first one. Okay, so second point is that fairness is a myth. I'll say that again. Fairness is a myth. Life is simply not fair. There are people who have lost their lives in what we could argue was too soon. There are people who are dealing with things that they didn't create. They're dealing with situations. They're in situations. There are children in situations that they're not the author of. They were given to parents who didn't do what they should have. There's so many things in life that have happened to people that is not fair. Somebody is getting paid way more than you are right now, but you guys are doing the same thing. We could argue that, and this is another thing too, like student loans, right? I'll use myself here because this is a really great example. For some time now, I have been very bitter about the fact that I didn't get a scholarship, because in high school, middle school, high school, I was athletic. I did academics 4.0. I was on top of my stuff. Nobody had to tell me nothing. I'm practicing by myself. I'm going to the gym by myself. I'm like, my parents are contributing. They're doing things. I'm in AAU, but like, essentially, like, if anybody was to get a scholarship, right? I'm just say this. I felt like it should have been me. And it wasn't. Like, at the end of the day, God was like, no. In hindsight, I look back at all the things that maybe could have been done differently that, would have guaranteed me a scholarship. And I finally accepted it. That, you could just be doing all the right things, and you could be in all the right spaces and all the right places and have all of the right ideas. And life may not still may not give you what you thought you deserved. And so I had to accept that life is just not fair. In order for me to make peace with that situation, I had to accept that life is not fair. And so, when me saying that life is not fair, fairness is a myth, I'm not just saying that out of my butt, like, I'm not just telling you to suck it up, whatever. Like, I've lived this, like, I've practiced this. And this is just one example. Like, I could go on, we could talk about life being unfair probably until tomorrow, but we're not, because it just isn't fair. And, learning how to have the tools and the state of mind that's necessary to get through when life isn't fair is what's more important than it being fair. Because there are winners, there's losers, and we don't necessarily get to dictate who wins, who loses. And even winning and losing is subjective. But you have to control your reaction to fair and unfairness, what you think is unfair. And you have what could be unfair is very valid. It's not like you're invalidated or things like that. But, when things are unfair, you have to control your reaction to that unfairness. And how do you want to respond? Like, how do you essentially take what life has given you, even though it may not be fair, and say, you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. And I'm going to appreciate me for how I handled this. So you're going to appreciate you for how you handled an unfair situation, whether it had been, parenting, the way your upbringing, your job, your contributions, people not acknowledging your contributions, whatever the unfairness is. It could be a relationship. You're not love is not being reciprocated. You're not feeling valued. Whatever the situation is, you control your reaction to the unfairness, and you also control how much you deal with the unfairness. Like, you're controlling, do I want to sit in this and just take this? Or do I want to go create a situation for myself where things are a little bit more level filled? Because you have that ability to do so. You have that freedom, or at least, in your right mind with the right energy, community or resources, you can do that. So yeah, and you want to avoid people that are a threat to your safety and your peace of mind. That's important because it'll be your family. Let's talk about family, man. Whew. I'm trying to tell y'all that today's episode, it's a great episode because today is not about humility. It's not about being humble. It's about appreciating you, appreciating yourself. And see, sometimes our family, the people that love us the most, the people that are supposed to care about us the most, they're the main ones that are hurting us. And they don't even know. Maybe they don't realize it. They just are unaware. But like, they'll be the main ones that are treating us unfairly, whether it be a sibling that they're like, our parents are maybe like favoring one sibling over the other, or whether it be, the way that certain people handle situations and, who comes to rescue on certain things. Like, it could be family that is taking advantage of us. And that's the hardest thing, is like learning how to still love them, but, create boundaries so that you don't become affected, like to a point of like no return from all of the unfairness that you've encountered with your family. And family can be a really hard pill to swallow, because you don't want to think that people that love you would hurt you, and that you don't want to assume and think that people who are supposed to care about you would ever want to put you in a situation to make you feel like you're not loved, like you don't no longer want to exist, or whatever it is that could happen. And navigating that can be very, very tricky. So definitely put your safety, your peace of mind above all. But my last point here with all of this is that you're no superhero. So we want to save the world. We want to be helpful. We want to help those especially that we love, but you have to help thoughtfully and not impulsively. So that's what the book talks about, is, don't be impulsive. When somebody's asking you for your help, don't just say yes because you just feel like you should in the moment. Give some time to think about, what it is that you can actually willingly give, that's not going to put a strain on you, your schedule. Some things, and let me make this clear, like, some things you have to sacrifice when it comes to helping people. And that just depends on the relationship, how close you are with somebody, and, what you're willing to sacrifice. Because sacrifice is like, then you put a strain on certain things, and you do that because that that's what is needed for that sacrifice. But some things, you can assess how much you're willing to give. And you have every right to do that because it's your life. It's your time. It's your money. It's your resources. It's your mind energy, your thoughts, whatever it is that someone is asking for you to give. It starts with you, and you have to govern how much. You have to be the author of your life and govern how much you're willing to give. Like, can't just be out here giving. I love when J. Cole was like, you can't be everything to everybody. Like, you can't. You really can't, because at the end of the day, once you're everything for everybody, what's left for you? What's left for you besides stress, unappreciation, not being reciprocated, unfairness? You still got to get up, go to work the next day and do what you do. And who's asking you about how you feel? Who's asking you about what it is that you want to accomplish, how they can help you after you've helped everybody. You've been the superhero of the day. Everybody loves you because you just don't say no. When they ask you to do something, you're like, yep, I'll do it. Yep, I'll give it. Yep, I'll take you here. Yep, I'll, whatever the case may be. So, remember that you're not a superhero. You can't save the world. We would love to. We would love to be Batman, Spider-Man, whatever. Like, we would love to do that. Save Gotham City. I watched Spider-Man, y'all, and I've been on this whole like just Spider-Man journey, and how he saves Gotham City or whatever. But like you can't do that. That's not even not Spider-Man, Batman. Even Batman couldn't save Gotham. Like, let's put that into perspective. Even Batman, his whole character is created to save a city. He couldn't do it. Even he couldn't do it. Thank you, Batman. Yeah, I said Spider-Man. I'm sorry, guys. Batman. Even he couldn't do it. So, keep that in mind. If this character who has all this technology to go out and save a city, and this is film. We're talking about like something that a show, a movie that someone created. What makes you think you can go out and save the world, save a whole city? If people, and this brings me to my next point. If people want to self-destruct, let them, because you can't change anybody. You can't change anybody. And with us trying to help people, sometimes, like we end up taking the fire of the situation, because prime example, like if let's say like, someone's in a relationship, right? Someone in your family's in a relationship. The relationship is toxic. When something happens that's bad in a relationship, they come to you and they're like crying and oh, they did, so-and-so did blah, 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 blah. And then they want you to go fight their battles. And now you in a situation, you squaring up, you ready to fight, right? Like, what's up? You did what to, you thought that was going to fly, blah, blah. And then the person that you trying to save end up right back with the person. So it's like, what are we, like, you just put yourself in a situation where now you can't even, first of all, you have an enemy. If you didn't have enemies, now you have an enemy, whoever the person is. And you also, you're taking away from energy of your day, your peace, because you allowed someone to reel you into their situation and they're unwilling to change. As simple as it is, like, they're unwilling to leave this person. They're unwilling to be a better person for themselves. So meanwhile, while you're helping them, now, they're right back with the person. So, don't try to change people, because you're going to fail miserably. That's the one thing I'll stand on. If I ain't saying nothing else today that you heard, don't try to change anybody. But just to bring all this back full circle, like, first of all, thank you guys for like tuning in with me, listening and all that. But to bring everything back full circle, as you go through this week, put yourself on a pedestal. Appreciate yourself. Appreciate your willingness, your ability to get up in the morning. If you are on a drink water fast or fasting or whatever it is that you're doing, that you're trying to change in your life, appreciate yourself for that. Really, really appreciate yourself for that. Really, really, like, look in the mirror and say, today, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being you, for washing your hair and making your scalp clean, for doing the little things that people don't know, because no one knows what it takes to be you. No one knows what it takes for you to get up in the morning. No one knows what you had to get through to be in the positions that you are in the rooms that you are in today. And you, just like no one knows that about you, you don't know that about other people. So appreciate yourself and appreciate, just once again, yourself. This has been another great episode. Takeaways with Tay. The book is called F Feelings. I'm not going to say the cuss word because I don't want YouTube or Instagram to flag me, but it's called F Feelings. It's by Michael Bennet, Sarah Bennet. And I highly recommend it if you haven't gotten into it. But yeah, next week we're going to be back with an all new topic, all new book. If you enjoyed this, please share it with a friend, share it with somebody who you think it could be beneficial for. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I think this is great for the underdogs, the people who might be perfectionists, or the people who feel like life has dealt them an unshare of cards. Share this with somebody, and especially if you think it's going to be helpful, listen to it again if you need to. Listen to the full thing so you can take everything that was served, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me, all that great stuff. You guys are already following me, but know what I mean. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.